Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, I'm gonna be doing a full face and trying all of your favorite high-end luxury splurgy makeup items. I asked you guys on Instagram recently, what is your favorite, most expensive beauty product? And a ton of you guys weighed in and let me know what your favorites were. And I thought it was a good idea to do a full face of those and see how many of these favorites are actually my favorites too. And it's crazy how close we jive, you guys. This is the look I came up with using your favorite products, and I am really liking this. I think it looks really beautiful. It does a great job kind of jiving with my top today too. So of course I'm going to show you how I got this look specifically using all of your favorite products. So let's get right on into this video. All right, so just looking at the responses from Instagram here. As you can tell, I have no makeup on right now. Now, I'm not going to put anything on my brows because they are microbladed. I don't need to do that now, which is nice. So if you guys are still wanting a microblading video, do let me know down below your thoughts on that. The first step that I always do is I wash my face in the morning and I apply an SPF. So the one I'm using today is the Supergoop SPF. It's the Unseen SPF. It's kind of like a silicone-y kind of feel sunscreen. So that is on my skin right now. Sometimes I want more of a quicker process. I don't want to bake or have to like swipe anything away. So I am just going to start with eyes. Now I'm looking at your responses here and nobody said anything about a primer. And I think that primers can be maybe not as glamorous products as like eyeshadow palettes, for instance. So I'm going to use the Anastasia eye primer. This is the small container here. And the only qualm I have with this is that it actually like comes out really quickly. You don't need a ton for your eye. So I'm just kind of applying a little bit on the eyelid here. You can see how opaque that is. My hands are clean as well. Make sure you wash your hands before you do something like this, but you can apply it with a brush too if you want, but I just like to have a little bit more control with this. So I use a clean finger and I just apply it all over the lid. And as you can see, it gets very opaque, but it also shears out a little bit. So this is kind of the difference between both. You can see one of them is like more so blended in right now. The other one isn't, but you can tell it definitely shears out. Now, eyeshadow palettes was one that you guys were obsessed with. There's eyeshadow palettes from Chanel, from Natasha Denona, from Charlotte Tilbury, but this is one that's interesting. A lot of you guys also said Pat McGrath. In particular, there was one subscriber that said Pat McGrath Divine Rose. This is the palette that I do have here, the Divine Rose, and this is the color story here. So we do have a ton to work with, you guys. I think this will be beautiful. It'll tie in with my shirt as well, being a little bit like Valentine-y right now. So I'm gonna start with a base shade. I'm gonna go over here in this like beigey shimmery shade to the left. Now, Pat McGrath has some really nice palettes, but they're also really expensive. So I find that this is the one that I've been gravitated towards the most. It just sucks that it's so unavailable for you guys. Like I know that there were so many of you that struggled to get this one. I don't even know if it's available right now. It's crazy how like she just kind of took this one, put it on the shelf for just a sec and then stopped. Like so weird because you'd think you'd want like to have more availability so you could have more sales. The next shade I'm going to go into is this one right here. It looks super beautiful. I'm going to use my Wayne Goss number 18 for this, and I'm going to apply it all over the lid. This is such a beautiful shade. I love the roses in here. They're kind of more cool toned, and I just love how they look on the eye. They're so pretty. I'm trying to keep my eye open because that's one thing that I always used to do wrong. Was I would close my eye like this and then like go all the way up and stuff. And when I'd open my eye, it would just look different, you know? So I always try to keep my eye open. And I know that's kind of like a rookie mistake, but you have no idea how long I would do that. Not have my eye open when I was applying shadow. Okay, this is looking really pretty so far. I love the purple-y kind of pink sheen with this shade. The next one I want to do is something shimmery, maybe. I want to go in with, should I do this like special shade here on the end? This looks so pretty. Maybe I will try that and see how it goes. I'm going to use my finger for this though. Wow, look at that, you guys. So pretty. I didn't realize I was gonna go so glam, but I ended up going pretty glam for this. I just love her special shades. They have like a gel kind of consistency. So I'm gonna look now and see, kind of looking from far away, do I have like heavy? I definitely have heavier shimmer right here. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on the other side, not too crazy. I definitely want something smoky for the outside. So thinking, I might go in with this guy, but just ever so slightly, because this is gonna be a really rich chocolatey matte. And if I know Pat McGrath, I do know she has some intense pigmentation. So let's go really, really light with this one. Barely touched the pan. You can already see a little bit. Just gonna do a little bit more. I think I'm gonna leave it here. It looks simple, looks rosy. I really like it. So next we're gonna do eyeliner. So when I asked you guys what was your like splurgy eyeliner, a couple of you said the Stila one. So the Stila eyeliner is actually one of my favorites. I have tried this before, obviously. It's like a ride or die, but I'm going to now line my lid. And I do this so often that I don't even really, I almost do this, like I'm just so comfortable with doing the top lid now that I can do it like really fast, but I can't talk either when I do it because then my line gets screwed up. Boom. This is starting to look more like me. I don't know if I'm the only one, but when I just have eyeshadow on, I look so strange. I don't know what it is. Okay, now when it comes to mascara, there's quite a few of you that said anything Chanel, anything Chanel. So I do have the Chanel Volume de Chanel mascara. I'm going to use that today. Careful not to hit the eyeshadow. I did put a little bit of the mascara on the bottom lashes. Now you will see, I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, it's gonna be a little too bright, but what is happening is I have some fallout from the glitter that I put on my lid. It's kind of on my cheeks, a little bit underneath my eyes. What I like to do is I like to take a Shiseido cotton pad. I just put a little bit of micellar water from Bioderma and I just start cleaning it up a little bit. So kind of going like this underneath where I see it essentially. And it's usually right along here. I try so hard not to make my mouth go like when I'm doing this stuff, but it just happens. I don't know. Because this is like such a thin glitter, I go in a couple of times because sometimes it doesn't always clean up after the first swipe. Okay, now we are on to base. For this, I do like to pull my bangs back just so I can get right by my hairline. This is really important to me. I want everything to look blended. So looking at your favorites again, I'm gonna take a look. I know, okay, La Mer makeup came up, Chanel again came up. Now you guys, this is like ultra luxury stuff. I'm so happy. This stuff just like speaks to me. One subscriber did say that she loves the Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation. Now this is the Chanel here. This is, I believe, what she's talking about, the Ultra Le Teint Ultra Wear All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation. It's always a mouthful. So this is one, you guys, very heavily scented. I'm going to give you guys that up front. Now, when I talk about skincare stuff and having fragrance in skincare and things like that, I do think that makeup is not something that you're wearing every single day, so you do need to keep in mind about fragrance, but I think for me, what I like to do is just limit the use of these like ultra luxury, very fragrant, you know, foundations, maybe more so for like dressier evenings out, things like that. So far my skin does okay with stuff, but you know, fragrance can kind of lead to an irritation and issues down the road. So I'm just trying to limit my use, even though I love the Chanel products, but they're so heavily scented. And I also really love the La Mer products, but once again, pretty heavily scented. Of course, if you already have reactions to fragrance, that's something to keep in mind. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a Beauty Blender application, but I'm gonna have to wet it first, so I'll be right back. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to put it on the back of my hand. I got this little Beauty Blender stand. I don't know if you can still get this, but it came in like a Beauty Blender kit. So I like to put that there so I don't put the Beauty Blender on like a surface, like a countertop or anything, take a couple pumps of the Chanel Ultra Le Teint. The one I'm using is B20, which is my shade, beige 20. And as you can see, I just placed on the back of my hand. Just kind of dip it, the Beauty Blender, into it, and then start. And I just do like big swipes at first, like that. Then I kind of press in and start blending out. I find that this one is a medium coverage, so even though I have like slight redness to my cheeks, as you saw, I have a little bit of scarring from the cystic acne I had to my chin. I don't believe I'm going to use the concealer with this too, because to me, I don't like wearing a ton of layers. This might be going against what most beauty channels like. But I like to keep it fairly lightweight on my skin. As soon as it starts to feel heavy, I feel like it's a mask, and I know that it's not quite true, but like it just feels like heavy on my skin, and the sensation of it is just like, this is too much, you know? So that is why I do it that way. You can see like a little bit of my scarring through here, but this is enough coverage for me for now. Okay, tiny little bit for the forehead. I'm doing maybe half a pump right up into the hairline as much as you can. And I also go around my eyebrows too. Okay, so it looks really good on the skin. It looks like I would say a natural finish to the skin. It's not super mattifying, not super luminous and glowy either. Okay, now when it came to powders, you guys, everybody said this one. This is the La Mer powder. Once again, this is a fragranced powder. I actually find, I'm trying to think of the one that I really like that is not fragranced in case you guys are interested in that. It is the Hourglass Veil. So that is a loose powder that does not have any fragrance in it whatsoever. It's also an amazing powder. So that is one that I would use more so on a regular basis, like more days wearing makeup, keeping the fragranced products to a bit more of a minimum. Now for this, I'm going to be using my Sigma Large Powder F30, and I'm gonna just put some in the powder here, and we're gonna set the face lightly. I don't like to over mattify, to be honest, guys. Just a light press of powder. This powder is also a like glowier powder, which I like. Sorry, I'm trying to get this stuff out. I'm actually using this up. I love it. A little harder to get out nowadays, so that's a good thing. Using stuff, you know, what a concept. Now, the next thing I like to do is bronzer. Now, looking at your favorites again, Tom Ford bronzer came up a couple of times. I do have one in my collection. This is the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in shade number 2, Terra. This is like the mini size of it. There's also a larger size. I like this size the best because it's perfect for my bronzer brush, which is the Marc Jacobs The Bronze. It just pops right in there very easily, and I have way too much on my brush, so I'm gonna have to be really careful. Whoop, see? Starting from this part. That's what I find, by the way. If you guys don't know this trick already, if you put a ton of bronzer on your brush and you start here, it's gonna look like right in your cheeks. So I like to kind of start from up here because you can afford to look a little more chiseled up here and a little deeper up here because it's like, oh, okay, cool, I see what you're doing, you know? And then buff it out once you have that top layer kind of off. Does that make sense? I'm not a makeup artist, you guys. I'm just a makeup lover, and I learn from my makeup artist friends as well as kind of doing my own thing. I've never been one to have a chiseled cheek. I really like just a diffuse kind of look. So this to me is like perfection. It's not super like carved, and for me and my preferences, this is perfect, you know? A lot of you guys said Hourglass was one of your favorite brands to splurge on. And in particular, I saw Ghost Palette, I saw anything Hourglass, I saw Hourglass powders. There was so many people that reached out and talked about Hourglass. So we are going to be using the Ghost Palette. I believe it is still available for sure on Hourglass's site, but I don't know about other sites. But anyways, we are going to use, I'm just looking here, I want to use this blush today. This is the blush in number 6. This is Sublime Flush right here. I'm just going to dab very lightly. This is a very pigmented blush, especially with a denser brush like what I'm using. And what I like to do is a light smile. Where are my apples? Right here. And just lightly press it in. Because I'm more so into the diffused kind of makeup look, I do bring it down into the bronzer a little bit, so it's like a bit of like a flush, like a diffused look as well. So nothing is really like stripey. Everything is more so blended, diffused together. One thing that I know you guys are going to ask me is what happened to the primer. Now, if I'm wearing an SPF that I feel like has some priming capabilities, like the Supergoop Unseen sunscreen that had that kind of silicone-y kind of texture to it, that kind of does a little bit of priming for me. So I don't, like I said, I don't like to add a ton of stuff. If I wanted to go a little heavier and I wanted even a little bit more of a glow, a lot of you guys loved this one. This is the Hollywood filter. I am using shade 3 right now, which is light medium, but I prefer shade 2 because shade 2 is light. Light medium is a little bit too deep for me, so I can make it work, but not the easiest. For highlighter, a lot of you guys really loved this duo palette, and I've been using this a ton because it's just been sitting in my vanity, and it's just an amazing natural highlight and bronzer product. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. It is the Bronze and Glow, and the one that I have is the fair medium one. Mine is a little bit dirty because I have been using it, but this is the duo here. I'm just going to use the highlight today because we already used the bronzer from Tom Ford. And this is one, you guys, that picks up highlight pretty quick. So I just like to start, like I said, more so up here at the top of the cheekbone, pulling upward to the temple. And my hair is getting in the way, Ted. Okay, so doing that a little bit to start, and then the rest of what's remaining on the brush, bring it down a little bit more. So the density of it is right here. I do want to pop a little bit of highlight underneath my brow. I'm going to use a small Rephr brush for this. This is just like a pencil kind of detailing brush. I'm going to go in with the highlight one more time, just ever so lightly, and just put it right here. Now, I could have done this with the shimmer shade from Pat McGrath as well, but I forgot. Okay, so now we can set everything before we put lipstick on. The one thing that you guys love, I'm trying to find the product. There it is. Okay, this is from Glow Recipe. It is the Watermelon Glow Ultra Fine Mist. A ton of you guys said this was one of your favorite setting sprays. I would say when it comes to like splurginess of this one, this isn't the most ultra expensive one. It does have a nice glow to the skin though, and it makes your makeup last really long. As you can see, there's not a ton of this left, so it's definitely one of my favorites too. Now next we are doing lipstick. You guys love the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. That's literally all I kept hearing about. Charlotte Tilbury, Charlotte Tilbury. Love the Charlotte Tilbury Hot Lips and the Matte Revolution and the Kissing Formula. So you guys love those lipsticks. Now, I do too. I have a ton of them. And this is one that I'm going to pull out today to use. This is the Dance Floor Princess from the Hot Lips collection she recently did. I love the kind of like cheetah print, black kind of packaging. It's definitely different for her. And these are refillable lipsticks as well. So I really love that. Okay, so here is the lipstick by itself. As you can see, a gorgeous pinky, nude, everyday lipstick. Really comfortable on the lips for sure. I love this. And I'm also going to top it up with a gloss today too. So another favorite of yours is the Pat McGrath Lust lip glosses. I do have one myself. This is Divine Rose, which is very fitting because of the palette we used as well today. So I'm going to top this off with some gloss as well. Okay, so here we go. This is the finished look today using all of your favorite high-end splurgy items. I was thinking of doing a part 2 to this where I try everything that you guys hate instead. So let me know your thoughts on that down below. And until my next one, guys, take care. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.
You and me, everything that we've been through has made us strong. You won't believe we've had our gray, but somewhere there's a light inside of us. It shows the way.